Welcome, dear friends. Today I will share with you an inspiring story of love, loss, and new beginnings in the mysterious mountains. Enjoy the story. Maria stared at the pile of overdue bills on the kitchen table, her eyes welling with tears. John, what are we going to do? Those foreign scammers took everything. Her husband John rubbed his temples. I'll have to take that high-paying mining job in West Virginia. It's dangerous work, but it's our only chance to start over. No, it's too risky. I don't want to lose you, Maria pleaded, grabbing his hands. John kissed her forehead. We don't have a choice. I promise I'll be careful. This is only temporary. Soon we'll have the money to get back on our feet and start a family, like we always dreamed. 1 month later, Maria's world shattered. Two somber men in suits appeared at her door. Mrs. Hanson, we regret to inform you that your husband John died in a collapse at the mine. No, this can't be happening, Maria wailed as her knees buckled. The men caught her as everything went black. 2 weeks later, Maria emerged from the hospital, a hollow shell of her former vibrant self. She had missed John's funeral, confined to bed, heavily sedated to numb the overwhelming anguish that threatened to swallow her whole. Now returning to their modest apartment, everywhere she looked, painful memories of John assaulted her senses. His favorite coffee mug, the ratty old sweatshirt he refused to throw away, a stack of crossword puzzles in his messy scrawl. She couldn't bear it. In a frenzied purge, Maria packed only the bare essentials and fled, leaving behind the harrowing remnants of her shattered life. She drove for hours, no real destination in mind, just an all-consuming need to escape. As dusk fell, she found herself navigating the narrow, winding roads of a remote forested area. An errant for sale sign caught her eye. On impulse, she swerved to a stop and dialed the number. Within hours, sight unseen, Maria had purchased the dilapidated cottage, using up nearly all the money from selling the apartment. Pulling into the rutted driveway, she stared up at the sagging roof and peeling paint. "What have I done?" she whispered, but she had no energy left to care. Shouldering her duffel bag, she headed inside to her new Spartan existence. The incessant banging on the door jolted Maria awake. Disoriented, she sat up on the ancient, musty couch that had been her bed for the past sleepless week. The knocking continued. She shuffled to the door and cracked it open. "Well, hello there. You must be the new owner. I'm Claudia. I live just down the way. Thought I'd come welcome you to the neighborhood." The elderly woman, cheeks ruddy and eyes sparkling, proffered a basket overflowing with muffins. "I hope you like blueberry. Picked 'em fresh this morning." "Oh, thank you. That's very kind," Maria replied, unaccustomed to such friendliness from a stranger. She accepted the basket and stepped back to let Claudia inside. Claudia surveyed the barren interior, taking in the pervasive grime and cobwebs. My, this place could use a woman's touch. What do you say? Shall I round up the girls and we tackle this together? Many hands make light work." Maria found herself agreeing, Claudia's enthusiasm infectious. That afternoon, Maria and Claudia, along with Claudia's spry octogenarian friends Ethel, Rose, and Beatrice, set to work scouring every surface until the neglected cottage began to resemble a home. As they worked, the women regaled Maria with colorful tales of the village's past. "Did you know, back in the 30s, a pair of bandits hid out in my very attic for near a month? My mama, rest her soul, she outsmarted 'em good though. Spiked their hooch with a sleeping draught and had the sheriff haul 'em away." Claudia cackled with glee. "And don't forget the spring," Ethel interjected. "Used to be folks would come from far and wide, seeking the healing waters, especially the women. Some said it had a magic to it, helped 'em conceive when all else failed." Maria listened, rapt, a fledgling spark of hope taking root in her wounded heart. Perhaps there was a chance for healing, for new beginnings, even for her. Weeks passed, and with the support of her new friends, Maria slowly emerged from the crushing fog of grief. Restless to explore, she set out one morning in search of the berry-filled glade Beatrice had mentioned. Armed with only a rough map sketched on a napkin, Maria wandered deeper into the dense woods. The hours slipped by unnoticed until the sun dipped below the canopy and a chill seeped into the air. Panic rising in her throat, Maria spun in circles, unsure which direction she had come from. As full dark fell, the snarls and rustles of unseen nocturnal creatures sent her stumbling blindly through the undergrowth. She tripped over a gnarled root, sprawling face first into the dirt. Dragging herself up, she almost wept with relief at the sight of the rusted old Chevy pickup nestled between the trees. The abandoned truck told a story: bullet holes in the door, a threadbare blanket covering the bench seat, an old newspaper on the dash dated August 1934. This had to be the bandits' getaway vehicle Claudia mentioned. With no better options, Maria yanked open the creaking door and clambered inside, pulling the blanket tight around her. As her racing heart slowed, exhaustion overtook her, and she fell into a fitful slumber. Golden rays of early morning light filtering through the cracked windshield woke Maria. As she shifted to stretch out the kinks, her heel thudded against something hard. Twisting around, she tugged an ancient leather satchel out from under the seat. Hands trembling, expecting preserved rations or survival gear, she upended the contents onto the seat. Banded stacks of worn bills, faded but unmistakable, spilled out before her unbelieving eyes. The long-lost spoils of the bandits' final heist, buried for near a century. Maria's mind raced, overwhelmed by the staggering implications. Maria! Oh, thank the heavens! Claudia engulfed her in a bone-crushing hug as she staggered up the driveway, still clutching the satchel. When you didn't come home, we were fixing to ring the sheriff and form a search party. Ushering her inside, Claudia pushed a steaming mug of tea into Maria's hands, while the other women clucked and fussed. In halting words, Maria recounted her harrowing night in the woods and the incredible discovery. It's a fortune from the past. I could just keep it for myself, but that wouldn't feel right. Not after all you've done for me. I want to do something meaningful with it. Claudia, you said folks used to come to the village for the healing spring, right? What if we used this money to bring people back, give the spring and this place new life? Tears in her eyes, Claudia squeezed Maria's hands. Oh, honey, it's brilliant. You've got such a good heart. Just then, the screen door banged open and long jean-clad legs topped by a fitted white t-shirt strode in. Heya, Gran. Got here soon as I could. Heard some city slicker moved in and needed help with chores. Claudia jumped up to hug the handsome newcomer. Ian, your timing's perfect. Come meet Maria. As their eyes locked, Maria felt an unfamiliar flutter in her stomach. His warm smile and firm handshake sent tingles racing up her arm. Suddenly breathless, she returned his grin. Perhaps her new beginning had just arrived. 3 years passed in a whirlwind of dust, sweat, smiles, and laughter as the forgotten village blossomed back to life. Using the bandits' money, Maria and Ian worked with the village council to rebuild crumbling infrastructure and renovate the rundown structures. A steady trickle of new residents arrived, breathing energy into the town. At the heart of the renewal was the miraculous spring. Maria and Claudia led the initiative to build a rustic, yet welcoming sanatorium, where visitors could come to soak in the rejuvenating waters and reconnect with a simpler way of life. The reputation of the spring's healing power spread like wildfire, until the wait list was booked solid with guests from all walks of life seeking wholeness. Throughout the transformation, Maria and Ian grew ever closer, their bond forged by shared purpose and an undeniable chemistry. What began as stolen glances and casual touches inevitably flowered into something deeper, an aching tenderness that both electrified and terrified Maria. She had already lost one great love. The prospect of opening her heart again was almost too much to bear. One crisp autumn evening, as they sat together on the porch swing of the home they had built, Ian turned to Maria, firelight dancing in his earnest eyes. Maria, there's something I need to tell you. These years working by your side, I didn't expect this. Never thought I'd feel this way again after Sarah died. You've brought me back to life. I love you, I'm in love with you, have been for longer than I can recall. Tears spilling down her cheeks, Maria cupped his face in her hands. Oh, Ian, I love you too, so much that it scares me. Losing John nearly destroyed me. I don't know if I can survive that again. Brushing a thumb across her trembling lips, Ian rested his forehead against hers. I know, sweetheart, but we've been given a second chance. I want to spend whatever time I have on this earth loving you, if you'll let me. Maria surged forward, capturing his lips with her own. pouring all her love, her hopes, her healing into the kiss. She breathed against his skin. Yes, 1,000 times yes. The sun-dappled morning found Maria bent over the toilet, retching miserably. Startled by a gentle tap at the open bathroom door, she turned bleary eyes to meet Ian's concerned gaze. "Hey, love, you all right there? You've been under the weather all week." Wiping her mouth, Maria accepted his outstretched hand and rose shakily. "I don't know. Maybe it's just a stubborn flu?" A sudden thought struck her, and she froze, eyes widening. Oh my, Ian, I think I might be pregnant." Ian's whoop of elation was so boisterous it brought Claudia running. Taking in the scene, the beaming smiles, the joyful tears, realization dawned and she engulfed them both in an exuberant embrace. "I just knew it. I've said since you two lovebirds got hitched that grandbaby would be coming for long. It's the magic of the spring, I tell you, works miracles," Claudia crowed. Mind spinning with the incredible news, Maria grasped for Ian's steadying arms. A baby, a new life, an undreamt-of future stretching before them filled with unimaginable promise. The tender moment was broken by the insistent jangle of the phone. Ian rushed to answer, his expression morphing from curiosity to shock as he listened. Hanging up, he turned to Maria, voice thick with emotion. "That was the Army Corps of Engineers. They've reviewed John's final project, the one he was working on when—" Ian swallowed hard. "Maria, he's being awarded the Medal of Honor, posthumously, for bravery and sacrifice in the line of duty." Tears streaming anew, Maria sagged against the wall, a final puzzle piece slotting into place. Closure, honor, a chance to remember John not just for how he died, but for how he lived, with courage, integrity, serving something greater than himself. Looking up to meet Ian's shining eyes, hands drifting to rest on her still flat belly, Maria felt something settle deep within her soul. A completeness, a contentment bone-deep and unwavering. The grief would always be part of her, a hidden weight she carried, but it no longer defined her. She was Maria, wife and soon-to-be mother, partner and friend, architect of her own miraculous new beginning, in a place of healing and love. Her future was hers to write, and it was full of light. The apple-cheeked toddler zoomed across the lush green lawn on chubby legs, Maria and Ian following behind hand in hand, matching grins on their faces. From her seat on the porch, Claudia bounced the newest addition to the family, cooing nonsense to the gurgling babe. A touch over her heart, where she wore John's medal every day, and Maria sent up a silent prayer of gratitude. For second chances and new beginnings, for the love of friends and family, for the healing power of time and grace. The lost and broken woman she had been, that distant June day not so long ago, was but a memory, one Maria would carry always, but that no longer held dominion over her soul. She had risen from tragedy's ashes, forged a new path, created a life so beautiful and full it could take her breath away. And as she linked arms with Ian, tickling shrieks of their firstborn floating on the warm summer breeze, Maria knew with unshakable certainty that if John were here, he would be smiling too. Because against all odds, in the most unexpected of ways, she had found her miraculous spring, her new beginning, and she would cherish it, always.